You call yourself a man? You know you're a lying, low-life, motherfucking gambling degenerate prick. You know that's what you are?
Well, hello, you degenerate fucks, and welcome to the Degenerate Gambler. It is Thursday, the 18th of August, just back with another episode. Looking back at last week, looking ahead to this week. Got some stats from the weekend. So let's start there. It wasn't a great weekend, no bets up. The main bet, it looked okay for a while. Gateshead were two down. They did come back to two each, but I'll run through it quickly. So Arsenal, they won. They went 4-2. Wycombe were 1-0 up, ended up losing 2-1. Northampton won. Gateshead, as I said, drew, and then Eastbourne Borough, which was strange. They were 1-0 on 3-1 up. Ended up getting beat 4-3, I think. So that was the main bet. Um, I did get that special bet that I posted up, the a goal in the Villa game evens. And obviously, there was the way to lay that where you got either £8 or £5 profit. So that was a small something. I paid for some of my bets anyway on Sunday. The overs bet again. I'm coming really close with these overs. Southampton Leeds was up. QPR Sunderland was up. Brombury and AFC Fylde was up. The other two were Plymouth was 2-0 with 20 minutes to go, and Wigan and Bristol City was 1 each. So it basically had 20 minutes, and I needed a goal in both games, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. But I'm getting close with them. I'll have to hit one sooner or later. So the Sunday was again strange. So I did both teams to score in the West Ham Forest match. Anybody who watched it, West Ham scored. It was disallowed for a foul, which some people said it was soft. I get why it was disallowed, but um, then Forest score. So you're thinking, right, well, that's actually not bad because obviously West Ham were the favourites. You'd expect them to score, but it wasn't to be. Forest held out when 1-0. Also, West Ham missed a penalty, Declan Rice. So that wasn't great. Had Hearts, they win. Had Real Madrid, they win. Roma, they win. Had Marseille, who drew 1 each. And I had both teams to score in the Bromby game. That was beat 2. I think Bromby went 2 or 3-0. So not great. I also did a tenfold over 1.5 on Sunday. I think about 4 let me down. It wasn't the. I think it was about 3 or 4. It wasn't the best. So not great from that one. So let's look at the stats then to see. It actually was a pretty low week. So in the Premier League over the weekend, there was 9 games, 3 favourites win, 4 draws, and 2 outsiders. So very low there for the favourites winning. In the Championship, there was 11 games over the weekend, 3 favourites, 3 draws, and 5 outsiders. So that is huge. From 11 games, only 3 favourites won. In League One, there was 12 games, 5 favourites, 4 draws, 3 outsiders. So again, under 50% of the favourites winning there. In League Two, this was actually quite surprising, but in League Two, 8 favourites won and only 4 draws. There was no outsider won in League Two. So if you'd have bet a few teams in League Two favourites, you'd have been all right there. In the National League again, 12 games, only 4 favourites, 5 draws, 2 outsiders. So in total, that was 23 favourites, 20 draws, and 12 outsiders from 56 games, which is only 41%. And as I've said before, you like that to be in the high 60s. But even if it's 50-50, it's 50% of the favourites winning, your odds are better. But that is quite low. Let me look back at the last few weeks. So last week it was only 40%, but last week was 2 less games. But what was big this week was the draws. The draws was 20 draws. Last week only 14 draws, and the week before that again it was only 33 games, but 11 draws. So yeah, the draws seemed You look there, you've got 4 draws in the Premier League, 4 in League 1, 4 in League 2, and 5 in the National League. That's quite big, and then 3 as well, obviously in the Championship. That's not too big. But when you have 12 games and a third of them are draws, then that's a high number. So say 41%. So again, hard to get a bet up. Looking at the overs, so Premier League, as I say, 9 games, 6 games were over, and 3 weren't. In the Championship, 11 games, 7 games were over, and 4 weren't. In League One, 5 games were over, and 7 weren't. League Two, 4 games were over, and 8 weren't. And we kind of knew that from last season that League Two isn't a league for goals. In the National League, 5 games were over, and 7 weren't. So, I mean, some of those leagues there, like League One, League Two, both had 12 games and had under 6, only had 5 and 4. National League Two, 5 as well. So that's under half the games in those leagues. In the Premier League, it was quite high. It was 2/3. But overall, from 56 games, 27 were over and 29 were not over. So again, that worked out at 48%. So again, under 50% of the games were over 2.5. So again, the fact that I got 3 up there wasn't bad when you look at those stats. So that's last week. As I say, it wasn't great. Only that small return of basically £8 profit. The premium group I've been following, his bets weren't great either. He had a couple of winners, but what I've been doing with those is I've been putting them into small trebles. I'm not going to be betting huge amounts on them, and his tips are usually, for the trebles, only paying like 8 to 1, 9 to 1 maybe. So I'm happy to throw a couple of pound on that, and if it wins, it wins. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not losing huge amounts of money, so I'm not going to complain. It'll hit every now and again, or it has hit. I've had 3 winners from it. Um, and last night, sorry, Tuesday night, he had a double in horses up, and he had Rangers over 4.5. He had Rangers most corners, which was beat, but he also said a personal preference. You could go for Rangers over 4 corners, which is what I picked, and they had exactly 4. Frustrating as anything when you're sitting with just 1 corner needed. But anyway, so I'll move on to this week. So let's see. The main bet, first team is Charlton. Charlton are at home to Cambridge, and they're 3-4. So looking at the sort of form again, there isn't that much form to look at to beat. It's 3 games in, but Charlton have 7 points from 4 games. Sorry, they played in midweek. Cambridge have 6, but Charlton have won both of their home games, and they also beat Cambridge 2-0 last year. Cambridge lost 2 games away from home already this season, so yeah, that's my thinking on that one. And it's 3-4, the price on that one. I haven't done the decimals, so I say I was very busy. I hadn't got much time. Next team staying in League One. And that's just the thing before I go on. You can see there I have no teams in the Championship, no teams in the Premier League. It was a tough week to pick a bet, I think. The fixtures were quite daunting. Either terribly priced or, just too risky, as I thought anyway. So second team is Peterborough. Peterborough at home to Lincoln. Currently Peterborough on 9 points, Lincoln on 6, so only 3 points of a difference. But again, Peterborough have won both of their away games. Lincoln are actually unbeaten away. They've won a game and drew a game away from home. But just in general, Peterborough, they are one of the teams that will be in contention to go up. And if they want to go up, their home form needs to be, tip top. So the price on that one is 4-6. Next, I'm going into League Two. And I have Mansfield, who are at home to Stockport. A lot of people had Stockport. They thought Stockport would go really well in League Two. As of yet, they've got 3 points from 4 games. They haven't made a great start, and Mansfield only got 6 points. They've only won 2 games, but again, those 2 games were both their home games. So again, I have this sort of repeating theme of teams who have decent home records. Um, you know, Actually, I think they've played 3 games at home. They were beat by Derby at home, but you know, they've got a decent home record against Stockport, who are obviously only promoted, and I just sort of think against Mansfield as one of those teams that will be in and around the playoffs at the end of the season. And I thought this was a quite big price. So there's 6-5, which is quite a decent price for a home team. So that's that one. Moving on to my next one, which is say I'm away from England now, so it's up to Scotland, and it's Dunfermline. Dunfermline are in Scottish League One. Now, I'm sometimes very hesitant to go to these lower leagues in Scotland because the results can be quite, chaotic. But of the opening three games, Dunfermline have won all three, and they play Keelty Hearts away. Keelty Hearts haven't got a point yet. Now, at some point, Keelty obviously are going to have to get off the mark, and Dunfermline are going to have to lose. But I just think that this won't be the game for that. I think Dunfermline are relatively big side at that level. And Keelty have just got promoted to that league, so they're finding it tough to adjust to that new league. So as I say, the price on that one is 4-7. And then lastly, I'm away in France, and it's Marseille. Marseille are at home to Nantes, and the price on that one is 4-7. Looking at the table, Marseille winning a draw in their first two games, Nantes 2 draws. Marseille won their home game, and they've beaten Nantes. They beat Nantes last year, and then hadn't played them before that until 2020, so not really taking that into account. But Marseille have, got some players in. They're one of the clubs, along with probably Lyon, who'll be challenging for second place, obviously, with PSG going to win the league probably. So I do think that they should be beating teams like Nantes at home. So that one, did I say that was 4-7? So in total, that comes to 14-1. So a tenner on that pays about 150. Actually, it might have been 13-1. A tenner on pays 140. Can't remember. But either way, both happy enough for that. So then we're going to the overs. Again, not really enough form yet to start looking at goals. I did take a quick look at goals, but if they played 3 or 4 games and they've scored 4 or 5 goals, it's a much of a muchness. There's no real form in there yet to kick in, but I did take into consideration teams that have started and seem to be scoring. So I'll run through these quickly. The first game is QPR Rotherham, that's evens. West Brom Hull, evens. Portsmouth Bristol Rovers, 5-6. Crewe Northampton, evens. Dorking Gateshead, 5-6. That one pays 25-1. So that's decent prices on those. Before I just go have a look at midweek. Next midweek, it's back to the EFL Cup, which, not the best games to bet in. The last bet I did in it, I think that night, I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but 10 of the teams that played a team from the league below were beaten, which is crazy. It's only the start of the season. Why are they resting players, or why are they playing weekend squads? But, well, maybe that wasn't even what happened, but it seems that way because 10 of the teams who played a team from the league below were beaten. So, yeah. So Tuesday night it's 21 EFL Cup games, 3 Champions League games, Europa Conference League qualifier, Northern Ireland Premier League's on, and there's 6 games in that. There's the Betfair Scottish Challenge Cup. I think it's like their version of the League Cup. 6 games in that. And Wednesday there is 4 EFL Cup games, 3 Champions League qualifiers, 4 games in that Scottish Sky Bet, whatever you call it, Scottish Challenge Cup, Iron Brew, Scottish, whatever it's called. So not a lot on. And then Thursday there's 10 Europa League and 27 Europa Conference League qualifiers. So not a huge midweek next week, but enough to do something. So yeah, that's it for this week. Just leaves me to say, if you are doing a bet, good luck and happy punting.
Here, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, thanks. Let me find out you fucked up. I'll leave you wherever I find you.